Hello everyone, my name is Martin Stein. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Altech Batteries Limited, listed on the Australian Securities Exchange under the ticker ATC. Altech is a battery materials and battery technology company. We're looking to commercialize two projects. One is a battery project called the Serenergy sodium chloride solid state battery project for grid energy storage. And the second project is the Soluminate anodes project, which involves incorporating high capacity silicon into the graphite anode for lithium ion batteries for EVs.
Right, and good to see you again, Martin. It's been a while, so I just really wanted to catch up and see where you're at with both those projects. So maybe let's start with this Serenergy project first, so we can park that up. Because I think the big one, the money shot, as it were, people are looking at is obviously the Soluminate anodes battery project. So what's happening over with Serenergy?
All right, so the Serenergy project, since we last spoke, Matthew, we've finalised our bankable feasibility study. So the board, based on the back of that, moved to funding investment decision and has decided to move forward with obtaining the funding to construct the 120 megawatt hour plant to be built on Altech's land in Germany. Now, that study came back with some very pleasing economics. We have a free cash flow of 48 million euros per annum, and we have 105 million euros of revenue per annum, and a net present value at 10% of 169 million euros. So economically, there's enough there to push forward with the project. Now, on the back of that, we've been pushing hard on securing sales. Obviously, we need the sales to get the finance to construct the plant. So we're in discussions with German utility providers. These German utility providers are transitioning, like the rest of the world, from fossil fuel energy. In a lot of the cases in Germany, it's lignite or brown coal, and they're transitioning to a renewable energy future. And as part of that, they're producing the solar and wind power, but this is obviously intermittent energy production, and they need batteries to store the energy to stabilize the grid. So we're talking to the two German utility providers in order to secure the sales. And in conjunction with that, we've appointed KPMG, who one of the big four global finance and accounting firms in the world. We've appointed them to manage the financing for the plant. And as part of that, we've undertaken agreements with debt and equity providers. We're looking at the green bond market in Europe. Our project is obviously green in that it doesn't use any lithium, copper, cobalt, graphite, or manganese for the battery technology. It uses sodium chloride, which is common table salt technology. So it's a very green, it's a project, it's fully recyclable batteries. We're looking to get green accreditation on that, which will help in getting the green bonds to fund that plant. And we're also looking at German and European government funding, grants and subsidies to assist in constructing the plant.
Okay, so obviously there's a lot going on in Europe, and green bonds and alternative financing for green technology. I'm sure there'll be lots of positive conversations. They're going to rely on two things, though: you demonstrating the technology works at commercial scale, and also getting those sales in. So can you just, if I kind of break that down and start from the beginning, in terms of the DFS, the definitive feasibility study, what are some of the assumptions that you've made based on the numbers that you just gave me, around 48 million, etc.?
Well, it assumes a sales price per 1 megawatt hour grid pack of 885,600 euros, and it assumes 5 years of sales producing 121 megawatt hour batteries per annum. Now, the 1 megawatt hour battery is a sea container size battery. So that's the key assumptions to construct that amount of batteries over a 5-year period and to be able to sell them.
Right, and in terms of the pricing, and just look at the kind of assumptions there. Are you forward looking? How conservative have you been? I just want a sort of sense of the reality of being able to achieve the kind of margins that you're talking about.
Well, the price is comparable to lithium ion batteries. Now, of course, lithium-ion batteries are being produced at gigawatt-hour scale. So with the economies of scale and increases in production sizes, obviously they can get their costs as low as possible. We're doing the 120 megawatt-hour plant, so we haven't got the full gigawatt-hour production yet. That is the end strategy. But we're comparable on a 120 megawatt-hour plant for upfront pricing with lithium-ion batteries. Now, the thing I think listeners need to be aware of with battery pricing and costing is that the upfront cost is obviously a very big factor, but the industry talks about what's called the levelized cost of storage. And the levelized cost of storage takes into consideration many different aspects of the battery, including the life of the battery, including how many times it can be charged and discharged per day. Now, our battery can be charged and discharged up to 3 times a day, and there's no degradation because the sodium doesn't degrade like lithium. And we have a very long life of about 15 years, which is about twice the life of lithium-ion batteries. And another factor in the levelized cost of storage is the ongoing maintenance costs. Now, lithium-ion batteries have a lot of cooling fans to try and keep them cool, a lot of moving parts, so they have maintenance costs along the way. Our battery is generally maintenance-free, and when you look at the levelized cost of storage for our battery, we are very economic, and in fact, we're a lot cheaper over that measurement than lithium-ion batteries.
Okay, and if I look at the different revenue streams potential there in terms of selling the battery, leasing the battery, I guess selling the power distribution, servicing, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, have you looked at perhaps what the future of this company could look like?
Yeah, we've assessed a few different opportunities how we can monetize this product. We think the best way is to get 100% sales. So that's the avenue that we're looking at the moment. But yeah, like you said, the energy industry is evolving. The renewable energy industry is evolving, and leasing these batteries might become a viable option. But at this stage, we're looking at 100% sales offtake.
Okay, and interesting. But in terms of the servicing side of things, but again, because it's fairly nascent, necessarily that your technology is well understood, but in terms of on a commercial scale, it's relatively nascent, right? You're going to need to demonstrate that you're going to be there in the future for them, or are there other companies that will be doing the servicing component for you? I'm trying to think of the barriers to entry and those kind of red flags for those thinking of using this.
Yeah, look, the model that we're adopting, we're quite flexible. We can provide that support to the customer, or if the customer wants to undertake that themselves, we're open to that as well. So we're flexible when it comes to the ongoing maintenance.
Right, and in terms of those negotiations around contracts, etc., are you kind of clear what the customer wants, apart from energy, of course? But all the kind of the package around that, are they kind of feeding into that product development, that service development?
Yeah, we've spent some time in the past speaking to potential customers when we've designed the specifications around the product, trying to get an idea of what the customers require. So we've factored that in to the product already.
Okay, interesting. Okay, and so give me a sense of sort of timing and all of that. I know it's difficult when you're sort of in the middle of a raise, and so you're doing this raise at the moment. So how much is that for, and what type of money is it?
Yeah, so we're doing an entitlement offer, Matthew, and it's for up to 8.5 million Australian dollars, and that's really we're doing 2 prototypes of the 60 kilowatt Serenergy battery, so we'll put the money towards fabricating those. Those will assist us in customer testing and obtaining the sales. And also we're using it to commission our pilot plant for our Soluminate anode battery material project as well. I was just going to add, the good thing about the entitlement offer is that it's underwritten for $5 million, and that is by a gentleman known as Tunku Yaakob Kira. Now, Tunku in Malaysian is Prince. He's a Malaysian prince. He sits on Altech's board. He's a long-serving board member of Altech, and one of his related companies has underwritten the capital raising for $5 million. So it's really pleasing to have that vote of confidence from one of the directors and their related companies.
In terms of getting contracts, you've got conversations going on at the moment. They'll want things and you'll want things from that. It's got to be, it's got to work for both parties. So in terms of what they're asking versus what you're capable of delivering, is there kind of meeting of minds? Are you in a position to actually fulfill those contracts anytime soon, or is there still a lot more work to be done?
One of the things we're looking at is a mutual agreement with the potential customer whereby we will use their energy. We will have a contract in place to take their renewable energy, and in return, they have the batteries. So that's one way it could work, Matthew. We could get a strategic partner that wants to fund the project as well, with the aim of securing these batteries for a long-term vision that they have for their own projects. So there's a number of ways that we're looking at it.
Okay, it's in motion, shall we say? It's in motion, right? Okay, well, let's see what. And for you,
Matthew, we've not done this before, so it is working with the customer closely so that we can match what they need and they match what we need. So
right, but this money gets you a long way down the line with those conversations. I mean, if you optimal timing for this would be what?
Look, optimal timing would be we can secure the sales contract and the plant finance as soon as possible. That's optimal timing. I don't want to say how long that's going to take because it's going to be what it's going to be. But after we get those in place, we are comfortable that we can have the plant constructed in 18 months, fully constructed, and then have the batteries being produced for sale.
Right. Okay. In terms of that construction, so how much? What are we talking about there in terms of the future costs?
The construction costs are 179 million euros.
Right.
We own the land already to put the plant on. Now, we hired all German suppliers to provide their costings for the plant construction, and some of the world's best robotic and engineering companies that have worked in the automobile industry in Germany before have contributed to our study. So we've assembled what we think is a very capable group of German suppliers that can bring this project into a successful fruition.
Okay. So just in terms of the Soluminate anodes battery project, are we a pilot? Are we at commercial stage? Where are you?
So I've been talking about the Serenergy project.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the Soluminate anodes project, just to refresh your listeners, that is involving coating silicon with high purity alumina and encapsulating silicon. So at the moment, silicon's recognized as a very, very promising anode material because it's so reactive, 10 times more reactive than graphite, but it swells and it cracks, and the industry is trying to solve how to get that fixed so that the silicon can go into the anode part of the lithium-ion battery. So we're taking the alumina and we're coating it. Now, our testing has shown that it achieves a 30% increase in capacity than graphite only. So we've constructed a pilot plant in Germany that will produce 120 kilograms per day of the Soluminate anodes project. We're commissioning it at the moment. Now, when it's fully commissioned and operational, we'll have the commercial samples to a whole range of prospective customers that we've already signed up under non-disclosure agreements. These potential customers are some of the world's biggest name EV companies and vehicle companies and battery material supply chain companies. I cannot say because it's under the non-disclosure requirements, but we'll get the samples out to them for their testing, and we're hopeful that we can secure a sales contract for the Soluminate anodes product from that.
Okay, I guess where I was trying to get to is you kind of got like two tracks here, right? And you've got to finance both those tracks in terms of a capex number going forward. And I'm kind of interested in terms of, how much do they overlap? How much pressure does that put on you in terms of raising capital to keep both tracks going? and the types of strategies, are they the same for both? Do you bring in a strategic partner? Do you look to the kind of capital markets for the standard debt equity mix? How do you run those in parallel and get them both over the line?
They're two unique projects, and we're running them independently of each other. And we might find that the Soluminate anodes project has the potential for a buyer, where an automobile or an EV manufacturer just wants the rights and they want that technology and they just buy the project out. That could be an option for the Soluminate anodes. With the Serenergy salt battery project, we think a strategic partner that invests in the project and wants the end product, or one of these utility providers in Germany, would be a more logical choice as a financier.
Right. Okay. So, but you know what I mean? I think that's probably the question in the market that they're trying to understand is it's a very sort of technical team, technical solutions to two different sets of problems, and therefore two different types of funding groups for each, right? They're separate, but given they fall under Altech Batteries, I think that's what people are trying to understand. So do you think that sorry, carry on.
Sorry to interrupt. If I could just add, we think the Serenergy project is a lot closer to financing construction than the Soluminate anodes, because the Soluminate anode still has to go through customer due diligence and their testing. You can imagine a Tesla, for example, is not going to put a product in its vehicles until it is 100% confident from its own testing that the product does what it needs it to do. So we think the Soluminate anodes project is down the track in being financed for the full-scale plant. We think the Serenergy is a lot more...
Okay. So there's not a lot of overlap, and therefore, I guess, not a lot of pressure on the management team to be juggling two balls at the same time. It's a case of focus on Serenergy and move that through the phases, and then Soluminate is a slightly different strategy and a slightly different timeline, so that it doesn't, I guess, get in the way.
Yeah, exactly. And the Serenergy, we're heavily going on plant finance for construction, but the Soluminate anodes, we haven't even looked at that at this stage, because we focused on getting the pilot plant commissioned and getting the samples to the customers.
Right. Okay. Fine. And what you're saying is, sorry, I know you haven't said definitively, but you're saying it's more likely maybe that one of the OEMs would look to kind of take it out. You wouldn't say we could put this under license to multiple OEMs going forward. It's too early to say. Well,
both options could be viable, and time will tell. The first thing we've got to do is to get a customer that's interested in the product. Then, to some extent, they will make a decision as to how they want access to the Soluminate anodes product.
Okay.
And we would look at options at that time, but the first stage is to get them the samples.
Right. And have you got people in the waiting room, as it were, ready for when you're able to kind of give them the samples to do the testing?
100%. They're signed up. We've got them signed up. I want to get them the samples ASAP. We just need to get this plant commissioned. As soon as it's commissioned, we can get them the samples. We've got them signed up.
Okay. And as you say, obviously, no OEM is going to stick this into one of their cars without serious diligence testing. But I guess timing is always important there, because they're going to need to understand the longevity, the robustness, all of the other things that they need your product to do. How long will that testing period last? And then, what does if someone says yes, what's that kind of ramp up process look like? Because they're going to need to incorporate it into the design of the cars going forward. So you'll get some presumably forward purchasing of from them. But have you got a sense from them about what that looks like?
Well, a company like Tesla, for example, they've come out and said that they see silicon as the most promising anode material. So they're already looking at ways of getting that into their product. Ours is another possible solution. Now, when we provide it to those potential customers, they're going to take whatever time they're going to take that they need to fully test it. They'll be rigorous around that. So we'll get it out to them, and then we'll continue to look for other potential customers to provide the samples to. And then we're really, to some extent, reliant upon how long they need to test it in their processes.
Right. Okay. Okay.
That's a hard one to answer because
no, I get it, but I've got to ask in case that's part of the MOU or any signed documents, because time's money always in business. So it's for you it's important to understand the potential range of time frame there, because you've got responsibilities to the capital markets, your shareholders, etc., and everyone's impatient for some kind of exit monetization event. So I was just intrigued by that one. So right now for you, Serenergy is where it's at. That's the kind of near term win, and then continue with Soluminate, which is, I guess, the bigger prize further down the line. Is that fair?
Internally, we're equally optimistic about both projects. I would agree that Serenergy is a lot closer to being cash generative than the Soluminate anodes.
Right. Okay. Well, look, that's a really nice update for sure. So technically, you guys sound confident about where you're at with both projects for now. This is really starting to move into, I guess, your wheelhouse, which is around the financing and be able to kind of fund the advancement and growth of the projects for the company. Is there anything else that we need to be sort of conscious of or aware of for the rest of this year that you guys are focused on?
I think what we've discussed, Matthew, is quite comprehensive about where we're focused moving forward for the rest of this year.
Okay. Good. Well, appreciate the uptime. The update, Martin. We will stay in touch as you progress. Interesting project, fitting into some big demands over there in Europe, certainly from the government. So we'll see how you get on. Stay in touch, okay?
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, Matthew, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.